This is the D6 generation with your hosts Craig Gallant,
little thing I like to call a joke,
Russ Wakeland. I'd put the little white handkerchief on my head and go, "Oh, my brain hurts!" And Rafe Hollywood Granger.
HD is in the house.
With contributions from our lovely wives.
He cheated, cheater, Russ. You guys have to know the rules before you play him.
And our loyal listeners.
Drago, we made you out of steel.
The following is bonus content from the D6 generation, recorded live at Gencon 2009.
And we're here with Ethan Pasternak of Wells Expedition Games. Ethan, how you doing?
Pretty good.
And what's the game that you guys are doing, they're releasing here at Gen Con?
Oh, we found this little game called Arcane Legions, and, thought we'd put it out. Yeah, Arcane Legions is the game.
Arcane Legions, which our listeners will be very familiar with because we did that review just recently. And how's things going here at Gen Con?
Oh, pretty well. I'm actually very impressed. We had a big tournament today. The King of Gen Con tournament's actually going on right now over there. The final two guys are competing for their Legion bundle. And, we're doing really well. The booth has been packed the whole time, and the tournament hall's been going pretty darn well, considering that we just released this 2 days ago.
Absolutely. So sales are doing what you wanted them to do?
I don't know. I've been in the tournament hall most of the day. I can't speak to the sales. But
That's true. It's been very hard to get a hold of you this whole weekend.
I've been in here. All you had to do is look in here. I've been in
Well, okay. Maybe I'm not working as hard as I should. Okay, I'm looking at all of the cool models and everything, and you're saying that the booth was really packed. Do you have any theories on, other than how cool your game is, which we are already on record on how cool it is, anything special going on at your booth?
You're trying to get me to talk about Cody and Blake, aren't you?
Cody and Blake, indeed.
Yeah, we had two lovely young ladies out there actually playing the game in costume. I think they actually won a prize for their costumes yesterday. I'm not sure. I haven't talked to them yet. But yeah, they've been demonstrating the game, and James Ernest has been barking for us, dressed up as Caesar himself. I'm sure he likes the promotion. It's been going great. Every time I go by there's a crowd gathered around them watching them play. So.
Absolutely, and they're taking it very seriously. It's not like they're just moving the models around the board. And
very competitive girls.
Yeah. Egypt wasn't doing very well the last time I looked, and she did not look pleased.
Well, I'll be sure not to mention that to Cody when I see her on the plane.
Okay, see, there you go. So that's awesome. It looked like things are going really great for you guys. And now, how many tournaments have you been doing here at Gen Con?
Oh, we've been doing 2 a day. We've been doing one that's a starter tournament where you get a starter, and then we actually have a ton of units already set up for them to choose from and make actual armies out of, so they don't have to sit there and put together their guys. And those have been, with a couple of, we've been averaging 8 guys per tournament, which is nice. That's 4 2-on-2, pretty simple round. 3 rounds getting down to the person. You win a booster every time you win a game. And then we had the constructed tournaments, which actually started out pretty small with 3 guys on the first one, but it got bigger and bigger, and now we had 7 guys in the King of Gen Con tournament, and yesterday's constructed we had a full 8. We had 10 guys in the starter tournament this morning, which is so much fun to make a bracket out of, but they were having a good time, so yeah, it's been going pretty well.
That's fantastic. We were hoping that things were going to go well, and it seems like they are. If I can just pick your brain for a few minutes now on the design process, what was your role overall on designing the game?
Well, let's see. This is an engine that Jordan and I have been working on for a long time. I was pretty much the primary designer. Jordan has, as always, been a tremendous sounding board and been responsible for a lot of directional shifts when it's needed. He's very good at coming in to look at a system and go, all right, this is wrong, we need to fix this, and then we have a new direction and we start going towards it. I've had a lot of help from my counterpart at Calliope Games, Tyler Bielman, has been a tremendous help, and his minion, Jonathan Laux, who has been up here a lot and actually been doing a lot of demos in the booth. But yeah, it's pretty much just been us. I've done the rules, obviously. I actually did the layout for the rules too, because I'm a graphic designer as well. So the rules, the unit design, the sculpt design, the figure design, the actual stat design for the figures and all that stuff. Yep. I've been really pushing to get the unit builder up and running and up in its right configuration, making sure everything happens.
Okay. Now, on that score, for our listeners that I know, and many of them have been blaming us for large packages of Arcane Legions all weekend, when is that going to be online, do you think? The online tracker and builder and everything?
The unit builder is going to be online, available to the public probably about the same time we launch in October. Obviously barring any serious platform problems with it, but that's the goal, is to have it launch have it go public at the launch. We'll be doing a very, very small kind of private beta sort of thing in the meantime, obviously trying to get it to work right. But yeah, we're on track. It's proceeding along. We've been concentrating mostly on getting the website up and running for GenCon, so the unit builder is now going to be the focus of my.
Excellent. Now, the fluff, the background, very interesting. I'm a big fluff guy myself, and the fluff is really what got me hooked on this game. Where did the idea of bringing Chinese, Egyptians, and Romans all together, where did that sort of come from?
Well, I would love to say I can take credit for that idea, but that was Jordan. Jordan had, let's see, way back in January when we started talking about this, Jordan came up with this great notion of setting it in ancient Rome, and I'm like, all right, I love this. And then he starts talking about the whole universe. I'm like, really? Okay, that's weird. And then we started getting more and more into it, and I'm like, all right, this is good. And eventually it just became this big thing. We were like, all right, we got to figure out ways to get the Han in. And he had come up with the idea of having them come to punish whoever it was that caused the Night of Mists. But yeah, a lot of the continuity development has been, he's set an outline, and I've gone in and tried to flesh stuff out. And especially like kind of the internal politics of the Han and some of the details. Like I went through and made a pretty detailed timeline of when things happened to make sure it lined up with actual history.
Right.
People's birth dates and death dates and issues going on in between there, and when they actually went to Egypt, and that was before the Night of Mists, so we can have him go then and afterwards, and it changes things. So we obviously took some liberties. People are sorceresses who weren't sorceresses before. Right. Although Himiko was listed as a sorceress by the Han Empire, which was the Han Dynasty was famous for writing things down. They wrote everything down. They had clerks galore. And one of the things they did is, admittedly a couple hundred years later, they recorded this woman named Himiko, who was the head of the Yamato clan that had conquered most of Japan and had been paying them a lot of tribute. So they kept writing her down, and they kept listing her as a sorceress. So as her occupation. Yeah, pretty much. It's like, Himiko, sorceress.
Very nice.
I haven't seen the actual document.
Sounds good to me, though. Okay. One of the things about the fluff is that it's a little light in the rule book, which is a good, very the rule book's got all the rules in it, very nice, and it's got a little bit of flavor text to get you along. Every army card has fluff on it.
Yeah.
How is there somewhere a master book that has all of this interaction and all of these different units and the story of all these different characters, and may someday somebody put that all together for the players?
I think, first of all, the best place you're going to find that is on our website, because we're going to have the full unit gallery up, and all of the unit descriptions and figure descriptions are going to be up there. So all of the flavor text that you see in the cards are going to be up there, probably expanded upon in a lot of cases, like when we had to truncate stuff because there was not enough time to talk about everything Cleopatra's been doing for the past, however many hundred years, that sort of thing. All that stuff is going to be up there and available to the players to view in our unit gallery. There's also going to be a lot
myself.
we're doing a series of fictional accounts on the website.
Myself.
Excellent. Very, very good stuff. We have plans to develop this as an intellectual property. I mean, we're doing a comic book with Idea and Design Works, which I think we're going to be having a preview coming up on our website soon.
Yeah, it's already there.
It's already there. Right.
Read that too. It's awesome.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, I've been working really very close with the guys over at IDW to get that made, and it's really good stuff. We're fully planning on doing novels and as much media as we can figure out how to do. It's a fun universe to play in. I was one class away from being a classics. I keep wanting to say I was a classics minor, but I was one class away. I had 2 majors. I couldn't really afford to take the extra class.
So I've been there.
Yeah, I'm a classics buff, and I've always been working on these sci-fi things or just sort of general fantasy things or Star Wars or whatever I was working on at the time. And it's nice to actually be able to work on something that I can delve into my classics background. I got on my desk, I got a Latin dictionary, I got a Chinese dictionary, I got a Japanese dictionary, and I got what's the other? No, I'm looking for a Mongolian dictionary. So if anybody has a Mongolian to English dictionary that's like transliteration, feel free to send it to me.
Okay. Excellent.
I'll send you some stuff.
Sounds good. Is there anything else you'd like the listeners to know about, or how about the Centurion Club? Just a little bit about that.
Sure. The Centurion Club is the online subscription club that we came up with to kind of help us keep up this really pretty expansive website that we've built. It's a pretty big community site. I don't know whether a lot of your listeners have gone to it, but it just went up 2-3 nights ago. I'm losing track here. My feet are going to my head, but. Our website has a tremendous amount of community aspect to it, right? So there's a lot of interaction going on. There's you can make a profile and have post up your pictures and connect with other gamers and connect with your favorite retailers and have them be able to blast out stuff all the time. And so trying to do this isn't always free. So we wanted to put something in there where we can keep this running as a kind of a carrot to that. We want to be able to give them awesome stuff for that subscription. So we have given them access to both a unit builder, which is what I was talking about before, where you actually get to make your own tournament legal units using the figures, and it keeps point totals for you and does the whole thing. It's awesome. It will be very simple to use, but. Like so many games, it's simple to use, but the strategic depth of it will take a very long time to master, and that's great. I can't wait to see what people come up with when we release this. And you also get access to the online exclusive figures, which are big figures. They're like dragons, but not big as like a Galactus or something that you have to play a whole thing around. These are actually 1,000, 1,500 point figures that are a unit in and of themselves. So you basically have one big cool looking unit, or you can make an army full of dragons. We did that to try it out. It's fun. It's not invincible. No, because your guys can take it down. But yeah, that's. And we're going to be doing a new run of those roughly once a month. I don't know if you saw them down at the booth. But
I did. The dragons are beautiful, and the Roman artillery is quite cool too.
Yeah, I'm a Roman player myself, and I definitely love the Roman steam ballista. The necrotic sphinx is pretty darn cool looking too.
Is that what it's going to be called, or is that contest still ongoing to name the necrotic sphinx?
Well, we're looking to name the package the necrotic sphinx comes in. Name the product, because you got two of them in there. I'm not sure what to call it yet. Pretty sure we're calling it the necrotic sphinx. If somebody comes up with something better, I'll certainly use it. But yeah, we're still ongoing. I haven't seen any results from that yet. I don't know what anybody submitted. I've been up here the whole time, so yeah. But
that's fantastic.
Centurion Club for you right there. And you can keep track of your army online as well. There's the army tracker.
And you were saying about the Centurion Club. Do you any other big models that you might be able to tell us what might be coming in the future?
Might be able to is a good word.
Should I turn off the recorder?
One of them might involve elephants.
Elephants, nice. Is okay? Yeah, I was going to ask something, but we'll leave that for later. Awesome. And is there anything else you'd like our listeners to know before we head back over to the tournament?
You're listening to a great podcast.
Thank you.
But seriously, I think it's a great game. It's got a really light touch, and it's a very light investment to make if you want to get into it. So I'm hoping you pick up the game. Check out ArcaneLegions.com. Sign up for a profile. It's free. Get involved.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Hey, I'm Kurt Covert of Smirk and Dagger Games, and I'm a member of the D6 Generation. Trust no one.
Okay, and I'm back, and I'm with Tiffany, the Director of Marketing for Wells Expedition, and you guys all know they're the producers of Arcane Legions, which we just did a big review on. And Tiffany, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty well, considering.
Considering you've been very busy for the last 4 days.
Yes, we've been preparing this for quite some time, so you never know how it's going to go. We clearly don't have the perfect booth space as we're used to, so we're pretty excited that it's been packed almost the whole time, except for lunch. People like to go to lunch every once in a while.
That's odd.
I know. And tournaments were really exciting. This morning we had two last tournaments, and it was packed. I think we had like 10 to 12 tables completely filled and playing, and that's what you like to see. I know people were there in the first day and they were playing, and then they kept coming back to play, which is even better.
Well, that's great. Now, this is the first opportunity people have had to buy your products here, right?
Yes, and they won't be able to buy it again until October.
So you guys can just eat your hearts out as you're listening. And so far, things have been going well for you guys?
Yeah, it's been really exciting. You know, people have been talking about it, and they're asking us questions that we weren't ready for, but now we are ready for them.
Like, what kind of question would that be?
You know, we've had the product is a little different in that. Sorry about that. The product is set up a little bit differently than other products, and so trying to make sure that our messages are clear about what's in what box and what's in what faction, and now I think we got it. I think our spiel is a little better, so it's
a little more polished.
Yes.
Excellent. And so now you've had this big release at Gen Con. It seems to be going really well. Lots of tournaments and things. What will you be doing to gear up for the October release now?
Okay, so I believe we're going to PAX in 2 weeks, and we'll be demoing the game there. That's out in Seattle. And then we've got, I know we have a bunch of retailer summits, so we'll be talking to a lot of retailers. And that's in September mostly. And then we've got a launch party as soon as the release comes out on October 7th.
Awesome. So it's October 7th, did you say?
It's been moved back a week because retailers needed some space with their schedules, and we're happy to accommodate.
Okay, for you to have an extra week too, I would imagine.
No, we're totally ready.
Are you really? You're all set to go?
We're all ready to go. We've got product. I mean, we had product here, and we would have product out in time. We just want to give people some space from all the other products that are coming out October 30th.
Okay, awesome. Is there anything else coming up you'd like our listeners to know about? Or
I don't think so. Beginning of next year, either I think January and February is going to be the next release of boosters.
Oh, really? So the next wave of boosters will be, and will those all still be working with the same 3 factions?
It'll be the same 3 factions, but it'll be fleshing out a little bit what we have currently.
And right now, those are going to be going along with the same release scheme, so they're all going to be blind purchase. If you get the bundle, you get every one. Is it one of every model, or
it'll be everything you can possibly get out of that faction?
Okay. So one of every option, basically.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But something actually that we didn't talk about because we didn't know about, and I'm going to actually just take this opportunity to say it on the podcast, was that you can actually use multiples of the things in the bundles. They're not all unique, right?
That's correct.
So, for instance, the ones I bought, I got a couple multiples, but you can use those, and that's actually a good thing.
Right. And the only thing that usually you get tons and tons of are the infantry and cavalry. So that way you can have exactly what you want. And the other ones, you'll get a little bit of extra, but pretty much what you need to play, so you're not overbuying.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, and good luck. It looks like you've got a great launch, and we'll be watching.
Excellent.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Hi, I'm Eric Johns.
And I'm Dan Weber.
And we're turning the D6 generation on its head.
All right, I'm Rafe Hollywood Granger here. We're here with Russ and Craig. They decided to come along with me here. See, they handed me the mic, and they shouldn't have.
Oh, no.
And we're here with one of our very first, actually our first premier gaming company that we interviewed last year at Gen Con. So introduce yourself, because we want to hear how you've been doing and your company.
All right, I'm Scott Hill. I'm the art director and co-founder of Flying Frog Productions. And we're here at Gen Con Indy 2009. And what would you like to know about our company?
Well, we heard a rumor. Not used to that last time we had the unidirectional.
Okay, I'm going to take over now. First of all, last year we saw Touch of Evil. We loved it. We actually got to play with your brother.
Okay.
We're really excited about that. And Last Night on Earth is a big staple in our area. Lots of our listeners love playing it.
Well, there's something new coming.
Not yet. Okay. First, what was the big release here at Gen Con this year?
All right. Well, hitting stores in September is going to be the new expansions for A Touch of Evil. We have 3 new expansions, basically, some smaller than others. The big one is Something Wicked. And we hinted at that in the...
That's Shakespearean.
Yes, in A Touch of Evil, we hinted in the back of the rulebook, something wicked this way comes. And we put something wicked TM, this way comes. So it's like, hey, nudge, nudge. And so something wicked this way has come, and we have it here as a sneak preview before it hits stores for sale at Gencon, Indy 2009. So something wicked actually includes 4 new heroes, 4 new villains, a slew of new cards for the game and expanded rules, and a board that is the same as the full-size board for A Touch of Evil. So it almost doubles A Touch of Evil. And I will level with you, I think we made it too big. Like, we started this as an expansion, and we just like kept adding more stuff to it, and like adding more characters and adding more stuff, and it got to the point where I think we spent as long as we spent on A Touch of Evil. So it was a huge thing, and we're really excited that it's finally done and out, and like get to show it to people and all the reaction. It's like, oh, all those nights of no sleep, it was all worth it. And, okay, so the companion to Something Wicked is A Touch of Evil Hero Pack 1. And this includes 4 new heroes for the game and their miniatures, plus a new villain, the Necromancer. He raises hordes of the undead and fights your stalwart heroes in Shadowbrook. And we also have some new cards in there that expand on your decks from A Touch of Evil. So we decided specifically not to put expansion cards in there for Something Wicked because we wanted it to be standalone. So if you have A Touch of Evil, you can buy the Hero Pack and expand on it. If you have A Touch of Evil, you can buy Something Wicked and expand on it. Nice. If you buy both, you're really expanding on it.
Wicked expanding.
Exactly. Some very wicked expansion. Now, you'll notice I mentioned 3 new expansions. The third one is the A Touch of Evil Special Edition soundtrack. It's an expansion of sorts. It expands on the previous soundtrack by 5 more new songs. It has all new art and new liner notes, and it has 2 new original cards that are music themed: Song of the Dead and Ominous Overture. So we like to do that, especially because our composer, Mary Beth, she at the very beginning of this, we set out to have soundtracks for her as an item that you could purchase. She could sell her soundtracks on the web, and all this is like, here's what I do for her, right? But at the same time, we really wanted them to come into the game, right? And so we were like, well, we'll put this main soundtrack in the game, and there's kind of 2 reasons. First is the one I'm telling you now. Put the main soundtrack into the game, and then we have a second version of it, which expands on it. So if you really like what you hear in the game, you can get even more, and you can get it as a separate piece. And then we did new artwork for her. We had like some cards in there, because we always try to have added value so that if you're buying it, you feel like you're getting your money's worth. The other reason is because she is a machine, and when she did, I think it's 10 songs for Last Night on Earth, and we're like, all right, this is great, Mary Beth, and we burned them on a CD, and we started using them when we were playing the game, and we're like, this is so awesome. It's all of our dreams come true, because we always played our games with movie soundtracks and stuff. In fact, all games that we play with movie soundtracks and everything. And for us, it was part of our dream to have original soundtracks made specifically for our games. And so we had our own soundtrack, and we're playing. We're like, this is the best thing ever. And then she shows up, and she's like, yeah, I finished 2 more songs. And we're like, oh, no, you're done. And she's like, oh, okay, yeah. And then she's like, I have 3 more songs. And we're like, wait, what are you doing? No, you should move on to the next game's soundtrack. Awesome. And she's like, yeah, but these are zombie games. So this is Sally's theme. She has like specific things, and she can't turn it off. And so we basically use it as a 2-step process. So we have like a full soundtrack in the game, and then she just keeps churning on it, and we get to add the extra ones that she does onto a new product that she can have separately that she could sell on Amazon or things, for her own promotion as well, as a separate product. So that's the 3rd expansion coming out. Those are the 3, the triumvirate of A Touch of Evil expansion.
Nice.
And
I see a little poster here. With zombies on it? What's going on with zombies?
You mean like different colors of zombies?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Well, we always think in terms, like, we're gamers first and foremost, and we always think in terms of what would excite us. And you don't need these zombies in any way. they're just different colors of zombies, but we're like,
which makes them ideal for gamers, really, something they don't need.
Well, we're like, I would love to customize the zombies. And I was like, what would be the coolest? We should do black zombies. That would be awesome. What about purple zombies? We had such a hard time narrowing it down because we can't afford to do every color under the sun, but we tried to get some really cool ones. So we actually have some custom zombie colors here. We have purple, black, and then we asked our factory in China, can we do transparent, guys? And they're like, transparent? And we're like, yeah. And we sent them some ideas of maybe like this, or you could see through it about this much, and maybe these colors and whatever. And when they sent us the first test versions, we were so excited. We geek out more than anybody. You guys don't know. And so we have semi-transparent red and semi-transparent blue.
Nice.
And it looks like fire and ice or something. So, like I said, you don't need them in any way. I personally love to run with the original green zombies from Last Night on Earth and purple. So I have green and purple for my normal zombie guys, and if I do Grave Dead, instead of using the red ones from Growing Hunger, I use black.
Oh, nice.
And sometimes we'll use the red and blue transparent, and then the original red from Growing Hunger is the Grave Dead. Everybody has their favorites already, but I don't know. If it works out and people enjoy it, we'll probably do even more colors.
How have they been doing this weekend at the con?
People are perplexed at first, and then we're like, no, you don't need them. They're just for fun. And they're like, oh, okay, I'll take all of them.
This isn't a cash grab? No, I just want you to have. Oh, great, I'll take 12.
Yeah, right. It's every color. Exactly. But the other thing is, we always keep an eye on people being able to customize their own games. So in all of our games we include extra counters and stuff, and we always kind of nurture that community of people who want to make up their own rules, their own new scenarios, house rules, all of that stuff. And so with these new colors of zombies, of course you get that. So say you want to do more than two zombie players, now you could use it, we could have a green player, brown player, blue player, red player, whatever. Or maybe the red ones are fire zombies or mutant zombies. Maybe the blue ones, someone already told me ice zombies. And I'm like, well, maybe. Whatever you like. Crystal zombies, And so I don't know. It's a fun extra that if people want. Right now, we just have them at Gen Con, but we are planning on putting them up on our website, so they'll be available on our web store.
Excellent. Now for the rumor. Okay, we've heard something about alien invasion.
Oh, yes.
Could you fill us in on a little details on what may be coming this way from the skies?
Sure. Well, first I'll start with the history of it. When we were doing Last Night on Earth, we were working on the rule book, and that was kind of like the last finishing touches on the game. And we got to the last page, which is the credits, and we're doing all the legalese text, and we're like, God, all this legal stuff. Does anybody ever read to the end of this? And we're like, why don't we find out? And so we thought, let's put a secret message at the end. And then we sat there for probably 2 hours bouncing around ideas, and we're like, you know what we should put? Maybe we should put something about the Martian game. Because we have a Martian game. I don't know. We talked to you guys, I think, in the past about how this all came about. But my brother Jason and I have dreamed of making games all our lives, and we've been involved in games, lots of stuff. Games Workshop, a little bit of playtesting for Privateer Press. We did card art for Wizards of the Coast, all over the place. And we've always wanted to do our own thing. And with all these daydreams and everything, it was always a quest for the ultimate game, the stuff that we would want, that kind of thing. And we didn't want it to go halfway. We didn't want it to go even 3/4 of the way. We wanted to make chock full of everything we wanted with all the quality we wanted. And we've heard many horror stories about people having their baby wrenched from their arms and contorted in some way, like a publisher might say, zombie game, huh? Woodenvale? Nah. Okay, it's set in space, and instead of zombies, it's fishmen or something like that. It's like, no, zombies, And so because of that, we saved up our own money. We had to make contacts. It's really hard finding a factory in China.
Sure.
And especially one that can do the quality of miniatures that we're looking for. And so it took us almost 10 years to save up the money and make the contacts and get everything in order. And over that time, we have built a lot of games. So we actually have a bunch of games in the pipe that are already done that we just need to put art to and actually put out the door. And so right now we're doing about one a year. and it's great. Each one, it sells enough that we can put out the next one and some expansions and a reprint of the previous one. And so it's kind of a grassroots sort of natural growth, and it's been great because it's a lot more stable. We don't owe a lot of people money. We don't have investors that we have to, like, the investors are angry, Jason, what are we going to do? You know, we don't have to. And so because of that, it allows us to make the games we want to make and make the quality we have and all that stuff. And I've talked enough that I don't remember the original point I was Martians. The Martians, yes. And so we have a lot of games already in the pipe. One of those is the Martian game, and it actually uses the same rule set as Last Night on Earth.
Okay.
And so because of that, we're like, well, that's a connector. So if they like Last Night on Earth, then when we do the Martian game, that could be like a little hint. So we put the Martians are coming. And that's it. And we meant, you know, whenever that game happens to come out, it's kind of tied in. And then we started working on our next game, A Touch of Evil and everything. And people, when Last Night on Earth came out, it just exploded. They're like, Martians! The Martian game is next! Oh, we can't wait for the next game, the Martian game. We're like, uh-oh.
They do read the legalese.
That's not the next game. And the reason we put it is because they're connected because they use the same rule set.
Right.
Not because it was the next game.
Right. And, it was like a Bond film. You'll appear next time.
Exactly. And so from that point forward, we started paying a little more attention to our decisions about what we put in there.
Lesson learned.
We definitely used that momentum and everybody's excitement about the Martians to slot that as our follow-up game to A Touch of Evil. And so what can I tell you about the Martian game? The official title is Invasion from Outer Space, The Martian Game. And it takes place in about the 40s. And there's a scout fleet of Martians that are ahead of...
Not fishmen.
No, not fishmen. Martians, yeah. What are you, a publisher? You're going to take it away from me? So there's a scout fleet of Martians, and they land on Earth to kind of see what's what and organize their forces before really attacking en masse. And they land out in the boonies because they know that they can group their forces and kind of infiltrate and scout without any problems. What they didn't count on is there was a traveling carnival out in the boonies, and so the Earth's first line of defense ends up being Carnifolk. This traveling carnival. And so the heroes that you play to fight off the Martians are stuff like a bearded lady, like the ringmaster, human cannonball, a fire breather, like all the archetypes that you would see in that. And my absolute favorite, Jojo the Dancing Bear, who is a trained 8-foot-tall grizzly bear in a pink tutu. Awesome. So
is there a Jojo figure?
Of course, yeah.
Excellent.
Much like our other games, each of the heroes actually has a miniature that comes with it. You can think of it in terms of Last Night on Earth because it does use basically the same rule set. It's not the same. So when you're fighting against Martians instead of zombies, Martians run in little packs, and they actually have ray guns. So they, unlike the zombies who are kind of, they form a large zombie net which moves slowly and encroaches on you. These guys don't move as slowly, and they run in little groups, and they can fire ranged weapons. So your first game will probably be shocking. If you're a Last Night on Earth fan, you're like, whoa, they've got guns!
And they're fast!
Exactly. And we also have, I'm not sure how much I should say yet, actually, but there are some special characters as well for the bad guys. So it's not just rank and file Martians. There's some other things that can come out as well. Nice. So they are different games, but they use the rule set, the core rule set, enough that they are compatible. And so what that means, inexactly, without going into too many details, is that if you do play both games and you enjoy both, then your small town survivors of Woodenvale zombie apocalypse can face off against Martians. Your Carnifolk could fight zombies. Your Carnifolk could fight small-town heroes in Woodenvale. Your zombies could fight Martians. So it can get wild.
And you got fishmen in there.
Yeah, fishmen.
Enough with the fishmen.
All right. Yeah.
Well, that's very exciting.
That's very exciting.
I'll say we've been joking about fishmen, but that's not totally out of the realm of reason.
I read that. I knew that was coming.
I should tell you that, there may or may not be fishmen in an upcoming game. I'll just say it.
You heard it here first.
So that people don't say later, like, oh, you remember that interview? Yeah, they must have taken it from that day. No, there's fishmen.
Okay.
You'll see.
We can't call you up later for rights to the fishmen.
No.
Hey, remember when we reminded you of those fishmen?
That's right. That's right. Wow, I shouldn't be talking about fishmen yet. Okay.
Busted.
Anyways, so
I have a question to say to you.
Sure.
I didn't know this, and Craig informed me, so I want to get the scoop from you.
Sure.
The different flying frog logos.
Oh,
so there's a different logo per game, or is it also per expansion, or tell us how that works?
Only per game, and right now so far you should have seen on the zombie game we have the zombie frog on the side of the box, and Growing Hunger also has the same zombie frog because it's in the same set. In the Supernatural game you'll see like the winged demon supernatural frog, and you'll see that again on A Touch of Evil expansions like Something Wicked and a Hero Pack. And then what else have you seen? On our business cards and our main logo, you'll see what we call the Icarus frog. He seems like he would go with some kind of mythology game, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
That's all I'll say about that. And this is our main logo frog. And he actually is more like the frogs that inspired the flying frog. The flying frog is originally from... they have these wooden carvings of flying frogs from Bali, and they're said to be good luck. So you hang it in your house, and it brings you good luck. And Jason actually got one of these, and he loved his little flying frog from Bali, and it hung there, and it brought him some good fortune. And he had it there alongside him when he designed every game and all this. And so when it came time to actually put a name to things, he thought, what could be more fitting than the flying frog? And we actually made him up as a character. So he's our Mickey Mouse or Mario or whatever.
Very nice.
And so he appears in different outfits and different styles depending on the game and what have you. But if you see different frogs, that usually leads to a game.
I'm watching for the Fishman frog.
Are we looking for a carny frog or a Martian frog in the next game?
There's a Martian frog, and he is hilarious. He's one of my very favorites, actually.
Nice.
He, I'll just say, he looks like he's out of control. You'll see what that means.
Cool.
All right, what other questions do you guys have?
I think I'm all about set.
I'm happy.
I could tell you about the new expansions for Last Night on Earth.
Oh, would be excited to hear that.
All right. This fall, we have 3 new expansions coming out for Last Night on Earth. They're the Survival of the Fittest expansions. So the main one is a rule set called Survival of the Fittest. Survival of the Fittest actually includes 3 new decks for the game. For the zombies, we have a new Grave Weapons deck. For the heroes, we have a super items deck that's called Unique Items. And we have sort of a super events deck called Survival Tactics.
Okay.
And the super items deck, I say super items just because they're usually really powerful and really cool. So they're unique items. So there's only one of a kind. So there's the antique revolver, and that is the antique revolver. You don't have a antique revolver. Hey, do you have an antique revolver? I'll trade you for my antique revolver. It's one single antique revolver. And there's also ones that are character-based. So we have Johnny's jacket. We have Father Joseph's Bible. We have Sally's pendant. And each of these gives you one of the aspects of their character. Or, if you put it on that character themselves, they become more powerful. So, I'll use Father Joseph's Bible as an example. If you get Father Joseph's Bible and you're Johnny or Billy or somebody like that, you actually get his power to have a chance to cancel zombie cards if you take a wound. If you put that Father Joseph's Bible on Father Joseph himself, he no longer has to roll. He can take a wound and instantly cancel a zombie. He's got the power of his Bible. So it's kind of cool. You can use it in 2 ways, and you get these stories where it's like, I had Johnny with his jacket. It was awesome. Or the other night we were playing, and we had Father Joseph, and he got Johnny's jacket and threw it on, and then he got a baseball bat, and he's running around bashing heads, and it's like, who does he think he is? And where's Johnny? What's going on? But, so that's the Unique Items deck. The Survival Tactics deck are like super events, and these are so much fun, I can't tell you. There's one called Use the Sewers, and it allows you to put out these new sewer tokens, and you can place them in different spots on the board, and it creates a new tunnel between the two, so you can like sneak through. And it's fantastic until you find out that the zombies can use them too. So you have to be careful where you place them. Because the first time I playtested with it, I placed them down and I'm like, this is great! And then all of a sudden zombies started popping up on my doorstep and I'm like, no! And so yeah, you have to be careful how you use them. With great power comes great responsibility.
Clearly.
So says Uncle Ben.
Yes.
Also, there's one called Duct Tape. And
every game needs one.
Duct tape is so fantastic. So you can tape together any 2 items. And so you get these bizarre combinations, and it's fantastic. So, for instance, you could take a fence post, which is really large, and it's normally double-handed, and you can only have this one weapon. And it's so big, you can whack guys and attack in the next square over. you can tape a chainsaw to that, and then you can actually chainsaw zombies from one square away and use the power of both. However, with great power comes great responsibility, and the caveat is they're taped together, so if that chainsaw runs out of gas, you lose both. So you have to be careful.
Wow.
They are not. They're linked together from that point on. So, but we've had some fantastic combos.
That sounds like a blast.
You can imagine.
When do those come out again?
Those are coming out this fall.
Okay.
And I will talk now about the Grave Weapons deck for the zombies. So the Grave Weapons deck are basically outfitting your zombies with weapons, which seems awesome. I don't know. I can't tell you. So the way it works is when you're going to spawn new zombies, just like normal, you roll a d6 and it's like, oh, look, I get to spawn 4 new zombies. So you could spawn 4 zombies as normal, or for every 2 zombies that you decide not to spawn, you may instead draw a Grave Weapon deck and outfit one of your zombies, either newly spawned or already out there. And they give you weapons for your zombies. Sometimes they're normal weapons that you'd expect, like a sickle or a rusty axe or an old pitchfork, something like that. And other times they modify the body of the zombie. So there's one called Bloated Body, and you become a giant, massive, heaving zombie that charges through. And you're so huge that your bullets don't seem to have the same effect. And so what happens is every time that zombie would take a wound, the Bloated Body rolls a D3 or D6, and on a 3+, ignores that wound. So they become very, very hard to kill. And we've nicknamed them bloaters. And so in the game it's like, oh God, shoot that one, it's a bloater! Or run away! And there's other things too. So, for instance, we have one called Explosive, and the zombie has a lit explosive on it, and he's running around with explosive on him. And if he ever dies, he explodes, and he takes out all the zombies in the space. He has a chance to kill heroes in the space. He affects the spaces around him. It's a giant explosion. Nice. And so it is lit. The fuse is burning. So every time, every turn you have to roll, and you have a 1 in 6 chance of exploding just on your own. Or if they die, they will cause a massive explosion. So you can use this to your advantage. Obviously, a zombie player is running around trying to hug heroes with his explosive zombie. But as a hero, in playtesting, I've used the fire extinguisher to blast a bunch of zombies back into the corner and then shoot him, and he blows up and takes out tons of zombies with him. Lots and lots of fun. So it creates a lot more flair. Yeah, well, we try. I don't know. It creates a lot more character for the zombies, and you end up without just like the faceless, nameless hordes of zombies. You've got a bunch of horde of zombies, and then there's that one really big bloater coming at you, or the one with the lit dynamite, or the one wrapped in barbed wire, or the one with the machete. And so that is a lot of fun. I can't tell you. We've been playtesting it a lot, and I can't imagine playing without it.
That sounds like a blast.
To mark those zombies, we have little counters, and they'll say machete or bloated body or whatever the different weapons are, and they look just like the ones that say zombie hero from Last Night on Earth. So you can, you're like, okay, I'm going to play machete on this zombie, and now he's a machete zombie, so we'll put this little token under here, and it says machete. And that's fine. That's how you play. It works. It's good. That should be good enough, shouldn't it? I don't know. Probably. Really? But we are gamers. We're such geeks. And we're like, you know what would be so cool? We should have a bloated body miniature. Like wrapped in barbed wire. That would be so awesome. But the problem is it's really expensive to have the miniatures sculpted and then also to have new molds made. Yeah. And so we couldn't really afford to make one expansion that had both in. And the other thing is, not everybody wants it. You don't need it, right? You can just use the counters. So we separated it out for both reasons, so that we could afford to have affordable expansions, and also so that people could be happy. So if they want it, they can have it. If they don't, they don't. And maybe you just want a bunch of them. So that way you don't have to buy more than one of the same set. If you want a bunch of these zombie miniatures, you can just buy just the miniature sets. So that's the second expansion. So we have Survival of the Fittest. It's going to be $24.95. It has all the rules, scenarios. It has new rules for barricades. And it has these new decks for, the survival tactics, unique items, and grave weapons. It also has new cards that expand the previous hero and zombie decks. So it's more of all of that good stuff. $24.95. Separately, we have Zombies with Grave Weapons miniature set. It has 7 new sculpts, and it has 7 in brown, and 7 in green to match the original Last Night on Earth. And it also has an exclusive grave weapon where you get, in that miniature set, you get the cards for it and the miniatures. My favorite, crawling torso. It is just the upper half of a zombie, and he is dragging his entrails. And he, without his legs holding him back, he goes much faster. So he's actually, he moves at twice the speed of a normal zombie, so he crawls unnaturally, his upper half. And when he's in the same space as a hero, that hero, he'll grab his legs and like bite at his ankles and stuff. So that hero, to get away, has to actually roll a 4, 5, or 6 to be able to escape. So that is a lot of fun, and that one is exclusive to the miniature set as a reward. If people do want to get the miniatures, it's a bonus. The last of the 3 expansions is the Hero Pack 1, and much like the Hero Pack for A Touch of Evil, it is 4 new heroes for the game, new scenario, cards, miniatures, all that stuff. Each of those is $24.95, and they're all coming out together this fall in a store near you.
Does the last one have a board? No need for a board, right?
No
need
new
for
boards in these. We may do another board expansion in the future. I mean, there's some other stuff in the works, but right now these we're packaging them in a new smaller format box. The very first debut of the new format box is with A Touch of Evil Hero Pack 1, and we wanted to have another size. Like right now, we just have our main standard square box, and it's been working for us so far, but if we did a smaller expansion, like we were looking at maybe breaking some of these up, we got some feedback with Growing Hunger where people were saying, well, I didn't want new zombie miniatures, or I didn't want new boards. We're like, they should just let you get heroes or whatever, and different people wanted different things, and we thought, well, that's an interesting idea. We could split it up, and we always like to listen to fan feedback and that kind of stuff. We're gamers ourselves, and we want to pay attention to that. And so that planted the seed. And then when we thought about splitting it up and doing smaller expansions, we could not imagine having a box that's not chock full of stuff, because that's how we roll.
Like Christmas.
Yeah. Right. And so we had to go to a smaller box that we could fill with stuff. Yep. And so we made a new smaller size box as a companion to our bigger size boxes. And right now they're for small expansions, but in the future we were looking at maybe even doing smaller game titles that can come at a lower price in a smaller box, that kind of thing. Okay. It's also good. I mean, you guys are gamers yourselves.
Oh yeah.
You don't know when you go into the game store on a Friday night, maybe you don't have $50, $60 on you, Maybe
you don't.
Yeah. Maybe you want an expansion or something, and you'd like to get something smaller, or a game that's smaller, whatever. So we're trying to always think of gamers and maybe have stuff at different price levels. It's the same thing for getting birthday presents for people. Yeah. I don't know how many times where it's like, oh, well, he loves this game. Oh, man, the game's really too expensive. Like, I can't really afford that. But if there was a smaller expansion, it's a lot more doable. Yeah. So
absolutely.
Always thinking, always keeping fans in mind.
Speaking of that, Craig and ours birthday's coming up, Russ, so just keep that in mind.
Yeah, Russ, keep that in mind.
My birthday's coming up as well.
Okay, that's 3.
All right, yes. Yeah, I can't think of anything I'd want more than Hero Pack 1, if anybody would like to get that. One other thing, actually, that we have at the convention is T-shirts. For the very first time, and we have one for Last Night on Earth, one for A Touch of Evil, and one as a sneak preview for Invasion from Outer Space, the Martian game. And it actually has the first picture of the Martians that we're debuting to the world in T-shirt form.
Oh yeah.
So
those are some nice looking Martians.
Nice looking Martians.
Well, thank you very much. And they're $20 each, and we're debuting them here, and we're hoping to add them to our web store soon. So for your listeners, you can check that out.
Excellent. And what is the website?
The best way is to go probably through our main website, www.flyingfrog.net, and it has links to the web store where you can get hooked up with all of our web exclusives, T-shirts, miniatures, and also, of course, our game supplements, which are small expansions not sold in stores, just on our website.
Oh, excellent.
Question. So I think there's some things that can only be gotten here, I think, some different colored zombies and stuff. Right. What if some of our listeners are hearing that and by chance you don't sell out of it? Is it just for Gen Con, or would they be able to order those through your web store?
Good question. We are looking to add those to our web store probably in the next few weeks. And it depends on what we have left after Gen Con. A lot of the stuff we got is like a big Gen Con, excitement kind of thing. I mean, we love the thrill of Gen Con, and we want to have those cool, fun things. But if it sells well and people like it, then we'd like to add it to our web store and make it available to everybody. at least for a limited time.
Yeah.
I would like to talk about one other thing.
Okay.
Since we last talked, we've created a Flying Frog wiki. We're very proud of it. For a long time, we wanted to do a big FAQ, but we really wanted to do it right. We don't do anything small, and so putting up a PDF or some kind of doc file, it really, I don't know, it didn't seem as cool as doing some kind of interconnected, interlinked, full-on searchable encyclopedia of all things frog. So if you guys want to check out, or your listeners want to check out, it's www.flyingfrogwiki.com. And it has all things Flying Frog. It has all the cards from all the expansions and games and all that stuff. And they're all interlinked. So if you look up the character of Sally, the high school sweetheart, who's standing right here, if you look up Sally, then you'll find her different abilities, and then you can click on youth. That's one of her keywords, or one of her abilities, I'll say. And it'll show you all of the characters that have the youth ability. And so it'll link you over to Johnny and Billy and Jenny and the other students. And if you click over to Jenny, you'll see that she has the keyword, student, and then you can look at other students and so on and so forth, and it goes round and round. And so it's kind of cool. It's interconnected. It has all of the FAQ. It has all the links to different interviews that we do. It has links to your podcast, that last interview, and it'll have a link to this interview that you are listening at home to right now. So it's a one-stop shop for all things Flying Frog.
Excellent.
And at least in an informational capacity.
Sounds great. Well, thank you very much.
Fantastic. And one note I'll leave you guys with is we're going to get you guys some custom colors of zombies that you can have a giveaway on your...
Oh, that sounds great. Nice. Awesome. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Well, thank you guys. Good to meet you all.
Achievement unlocked. You've made it to the end of another D6 Generation episode, the podcast whose humor has universally been acclaimed as not too horrible. Please let us know what you thought of the show by either emailing us at info@the d6generation.com or by posting in our official D6G episode thread at the top of the DACA discussions forum on DACADACA.com. If for some inexplicable reason you actually enjoyed this show, you can help others find out about it by leaving positive reviews on iTunes. Thanks for listening and happy gaming.